this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. We got one that slipped through the net. I'm just about catching the last rays of light coming in the window. I know that's unusual, but I got fish for tea tonight, so right. This is my Phalaenopsis Sweet Memory. Now, although this is in the large orchid outer bark that should last for ages and ages, it spent quite a long time outside of a black pot. So it's got a hell of a lot of algae in there, and now that it sits inside a black pot, it's starting to die, and that's not good. So it's just time to change the pot and the bark. I suspect we'll have a reasonable root system in here. I'd forgotten I'd done that. It's a brick in here. Actually, that root system's not as good as I was expecting, but it's more than good enough. And that smells Fausty, a bit mushroomy. I suspect that could be the brick. Obviously, I didn't think about that. That was a weight thing. And obviously the brick would stay wet. It would soak in an awful lot of moisture. So as I wasn't going to bother getting all the bark off, but I will. Got some active growing root tips, some that are dead as a doornail. They can come straight off. But this is getting repotted now. Although it slipped through the net, it's been on the repot list for ages, but was not deemed urgent because it was in large bark. But it is starting to go now. It's a branching root system. It's just a matter of finding out bits that can come off, bits that have obviously gone. That's not too bad. I mean, there's some real dead ones in there. Trying to trace that one back to its source. It's right over this side of the plant, but it's actually growing from the other side. Untangle that, trying not to break any new root tips off, obviously. That's firm, that one can go. The good thing is, although there's quite a few roots that have gone, the base of the plant is fine. There's no sign of any rotting or anything at the base of the plant, which is, you know, if you start getting a plant that's losing its root system, it will often take the base of the plant as well. You know, the rot will go up the roots to the base of the plant, and if the plant's staying a bit too wet perhaps, which can happen. I'm just going to try and get some of these really stiff sheaths off. That will aid new roots coming out. As I say, it's coming into growth at the moment. It's doing a funny thing, I'll show you in a minute, but getting the woody sheaths off. That's good that they're woody, because it means the base of the plant's not staying wet. As I say, it can cause problems. This Sweet Memory, I believe, is a primary cross. It might be a species cross with a cross, I'm not sure. Can't be bothered to look it up. But that'll do. There's no need to take any more than that off. I've got branching roots effectively happening now. Some older roots are coming back into growth. Yeah, so it is starting to push roots. So get right. Now, top of the plant. We had some problems with this last winter. The leaves went very strange. At the time I put it down to cold, but not necessarily. As you know, I've had an issue with the potential for my feed not being right, on the grounds that I was using a stock solution, and there could have been some precipitation or bonding of some of the elements of my feed. And the worst offender is the magnesium. It locks onto other things and stops them working properly, and effectively it's no longer working like magnesium should. And magnesium is one of the main elements to help with photosynthesis. These leaves are a little limp. But what we've got at the moment, we have a new leaf here and another one pushing out, and it's grown a plant out the side. I'm going to leave that on the grounds that if I can get two nice leads going, yeah, if these two leaves eventually drop, which they will, then that's not a big deal. So that's our root system, and that's good because I was hoping to get it in a smaller pot. And I'm certainly not going to put the brick back in. I'll clear that up in a minute. This is a quick video. So effectively, I'm now going to spray the whole of the, I just won't do that on camera. Oh, I just wasted a load of hydrogen peroxide because I didn't know what was in the bottle. I just tipped it down the sink, which promptly fizzed like hell. So it was hydrogen peroxide. I could have left it there. I had a feeling it was alcohol. But the idea now is, because I had algae starting to die, there is some potential for some iffy bacteria and strange things on my root system. So by giving it a spray with this, it should effectively purify the root system and the base of the plant, and just make sure there's nothing left that can cause harm. It is fizzing in places, so it's finding something to do. If it lands on clean things, it doesn't fizz. Right, and I'm actually going to do the base of that leaf, because that's got, what's happened there is a bit of happy sap has got on there, and that's sooty mould, which we'll just wipe off, but it can have some of that at the same time. Right, and the spike's coming off. I know it looks like it could branch out. It needs a rest. It needs to do vegetative growth. So that's coming off. And I will actually put a bit of cinnamon on that, because that's quite a wet, it's a wet spike, you know, it's not like it's died back or anything. Consequently, it is potentially capable of rotting back into the main plant. So by putting the cinnamon on there, it dries it off fast. Strange properties, the old cinnamon. I only use it as a spice, but I reckon there's more cinnamon nowadays gets used on orchids than ever gets used as a spice. Right, I'm just going to wash my hydrogen peroxide off and see if I can rub most of that sooty mould off, which is coming off quite nicely. Most of it anyway, not all of it. Give the rinse a root. Give the rinse a root. Give the roots a rinse. And that's an overkill. I mean, in theory, once the hydrogen peroxide's done its stuff, it's just water. It's H2O2, the extra oxygen molecule does the work, the oxidisation. And once it's done it, there's just one O left, which leaves H2O, water. So, it's getting late in the day, that sun's dropping fast. Right, new pot, clean pot. And nothing but large bark. The large bark is the crocking, basically. And this just needs to sit in such a way, it's going to have to go at a slight angle to allow that little plantlet to grow. But it's going to go a little deeper in the pot than it was before, because a lot of the roots were near the top of the plant, which potentially means they can escape and become aerial roots. That's fine, but they do a lot more good. So I've just got an awkward one that won't go down. Gotcha. They do much more good if they're in the pot, and then they can grab hold of things. It just roots seem to grow better when they've got something to get hold of. But Phalaenopsis are fine with aerial roots. It doesn't matter. None of this needs to be packed in tight. I just don't want too many gaps. Don't mind a couple, but I'd rather it filled the gaps, because it'll hold the plant still. I'm not going to bother packing the bark down, I'm only putting it in loosely, but if it goes in to all the air gaps, the roots will grab hold a lot quicker and stabilise the plant, and then the roots will grow even better and faster. Why that is, I really don't know, it just works. And so I've got a huge big gap down one side. I'm going to have to tease the roots out of the way to get some down there. That's better. Betterer. Oh, I thought of a good idea for my merchandise stuff once I get my logo sorted out. A good idea for a t-shirt, it wouldn't work on, although it might work on the tote bag, is to gather together all of my silly little sayings that I do. You know, like more coffee, nurse. You know, things like it's a bit of a faff. The orchid fairies put it in my basket. All the little things that I've sort of come up with over the years and used that people seem to enjoy. And I find them repeated in many places, especially on Facebook. So it might be an idea on the bottom of this video to put in the comments all your favourites. All the things that I come up with that, you know, some are silly, some have meaning. And you know, like if you don't grow, you're going under the hedge. All those funny little things, we gather them all together. I could possibly do like a collage. You know, all the sayings at different angles, in different colours, in different fonts, and make them into quite a large area that would go like on the front of a t-shirt. Mind you, you might feel a bit of a clown walking up the road wearing that, but I've seen worse. So anyway, just an idea. I don't know whether I can pull it off, because I think I should be able to, because the site is quite good with text. Just adding text onto your garment or your mug, it's quite good at. And it is just text, it doesn't like have a box behind it or anything. So, but the only thing I don't think it can do is put text at an angle, which I would need. If I'm going to do that sort of collage, I would want things at different angles, possibly some even upside down, different colours, different fonts. Just an idea. But because that would take up quite a large area, it's only really suitable for a t-shirt or a tote bag, or a cushion, I suppose, or a towel. Anyway, these are just ideas, but gathering all of those sayings together, if I sit down and think, right, let's write them all down, I'll probably only get half of them, because I'll have forgotten some, or they won't spring to mind. Right, I'll keep the label on that one, because it's the original label. And I had to do a bit of a deal to get this one. This came from Le Couf, a French nursery and grower and hybridizer of long standing, and there were a couple of ones. This was an RHS show years ago. There were a couple around on the display that didn't look very good, and I was chatting to the man himself, lovely gentleman, and I mentioned about these, and I said, we had the discussion, is it Sweet Memory or is it Leodora? He said a lot of it depends on which part of the world you're in. But he said, as far as he was concerned, it was effectively the same plant. He could have been wrong, I suppose. But either way, he said, if you're interested in one, come with me. And I had to walk round inside the stand and go up in the bit where the sales bit was and everything, and bend down, and underneath the bench he still had a couple of what I would call much better plants, so I had one of those. So always pays to chat to suppliers, get to know your suppliers, become friends, and get in a position where, you know, when you don't see them again for a year, they remember you. Now, I don't mean be rude or poke them in the eye or anything like that, but you know what I mean. Befriend them and you get deals. And I'm sure there's loads of people do it, I'm not the only one. Anyway, that's that done, and as an idea, let's try and gather all my funny little sayings together. You know, like the orchid fairies put it in my basket. And there's loads of them, and they just come out, you know. I haven't got a book of them or anything like that I've memorised, they just come out. But over the years there's been quite a few that people have latched on to, if you know what I mean, and use them themselves, which is good, it's nice. So anyway, that was just a quick repot. Just give that a little tap, make sure it's settled. And so I'm not pressing down on this because it doesn't need to be potted tight. it will make itself tight as those new root ends start to grow. Now obviously the plant roots were absolutely soaking wet, so there is no need to water that for a day or two. The thing I've got to watch is to make sure that leaf stays above the lip of the pot, otherwise it will curl and possibly get damaged, and it's fragile at the moment, it's very flimsy. But we'll see how that grows, and I'm hoping that even if this leaf doesn't reach full size, the next one does, and possibly the second one on here, so that we get some decent leaf surface back. These leaves still work. They don't look very elegant, but they still work. There's enough green on a leaf like that to still be photosynthesizing. And what went wrong at the base? It could easily be magnesium deficiency. It's unlikely to have been too much light this time round, because that one's always been kept in the shadows of other plants. Anyway, we'll see how that one comes on. Just a quick repot. So say that's been read in my notes for most of this year. And I kept looking at the date thinking, that hasn't been in that pot long. Why have I put that down as red? And today I took it out of its black pot and I could see why. That's why. Yeah? Not a healthy environment when your pot looks like that. So now you can go back in your black pot and not get like that again. So that's that one done. See you next time. Thanks for dropping by.